National Forest Week occurs every September. It's a time to celebrate Canada's precious and varied forests, which provide so much shelter for wildlife, spaces for recreation, and livelihoods for the residents of communities across the country. The economy in BC is incredibly diverse. Our tourism sector provides thousands of jobs, as do manufacturing and mining. But forestry has been the lifeblood for this part of the country for decades, not only because it generates economic wealth, but also because the stewards who care for our forests balance the social and environmental needs that come along with managing our crown resources. The Willow River Demonstration Forests, Woodlot License 272, in BC's scenic caribou country, it's managed by the Canadian Institute of Forestry, the voice of Canadian forest practitioners. Each year, the Institute enlists volunteers from all parts of the forest industry, from silviculturalists to tree planters to loggers. The kids hear firsthand from the myriad of professionals who call the forest their office and learn about the abundant opportunities the forest has to offer.
This is a working forest. We harvest about 20 loads a year, 100 loads every 5 years. And it's also a demonstration forest that serves as a backdrop for school tours and other workshops and events like that. So the challenge is how does one go about managing the working forest, doing conventional timber harvesting, but at the same time finding something unique to showcase or demonstrate in each cut block.
A group of foresters got together and decided it would be nice to have an area that we could take young children to and explain to them about forestry. And from that, it grew into what it is today. Okay, so this is where it was in 1979, down in this corner of the actual demonstration forest right now, or the woodlot, I should say, right now. It wasn't a woodlot back in 1979, it was a dream of a few people to start a trail so we could take students to have a look-see what was going on in the forest and explain how the forest worked to people.
We're going to go right, and we're going to go all the way around, come back, and then we'll come back here again, okay? So the trail is 1.9 kilometers, so it's just under 2 kilometers.
Sometime in 1986, I think it was, the Woodlot license was awarded, adjacent to the Walk in the Woods, the demonstration forest, and it's been a great opportunity, I think, for us to show the people that take advantage of the demonstration forest trail to come into the woodlot and see this is how a working forest operates and this is how it looks, and here's the logging and here's what happens after the logging and here's the regeneration, and people begin to put two and two together then about what it is that supports not only many of them whose parents work in the industry, but certainly our lifestyle here in BC.
The tours themselves go in the National Forestry Week, which is right at the very beginning of the school year. Initially, that's when they would start getting the teachers involved, would be the first week of school. So when I took over, I figured, well, it's probably better off to contact all the teachers, get them all on board at the end of the prior school year, so that when we came into the school year, we could go hit the road running.
So one of the things that we talk about out here is the seeds and the different kinds of cones that come off the different kinds of trees. So I find that most people, students and the public alike, call everything a pine cone, which is what this of course is a pine cone. But then when I show them this and say, well, this isn't a pine cone, and they kind of give me a blank look and wonder exactly what it is. So then I try to explain to them the different kinds of cones coming off of different kinds of trees. These particular ones are off of Douglas fir. The whole idea here is to educate them on what the forest is and what their interest actually is. And the small groups of kids and public actually makes it really easy, because if you only have about 4 or 5 people, you can answer everybody's questions.
Oh yeah, look at that. No, right away. And check out this one too.
They're all different.
They're so different.
different trees.
That is correct.
A whole bunch over here.
Oh yeah, look at that. They're everywhere.
Left or right?
So I came on board the Willow River Demonstration Forest Society in late 2004 as the Woodlot manager for Woodlot 272 here. And it is a working forest, meaning that we harvest timber, but it's also a demonstration forest. Every harvest opportunity we try and work with at the stand level, or whatever unique characteristics a particular site might be, whether it's visual objectives or regeneration, silviculture objectives, recreation objectives. We try and work with the site, what's there, and make some kind of a demonstration practice happen. And that's our main objective, is promotion of forestry and public education.
Okay, let's go, guys. Oh, come on, be easy on the trees.
It's rain on me. Come on. It's rain on me.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. And then we got some money from the federal government to expand the trail or build a trail. And that was opened officially in 1982 during the CAF AGM here in Prince George.
Just before Forest Week and our tours start, I'll take and cut off a bunch of cookies off of these trees. And it actually helps a lot, because then the students can look at them and they can see the rings, and we can kind of explain exactly how a tree grows from onto the outside.
As part of the trail building process, we put a kiosk here. Eventually we'll have a sign that describe the history of the stand, for public tours and that sort of information. So we got the infrastructure in place. We're slowly developing it.
So this is one of the original signs that were put in 1982, and they've actually stood up really well over the years. The lettering is starting to get pretty bad on them, so we're replacing these signs with new signs and new locations, and trying to make them a little more friendly to the general public and to school-age kids.
Yeah, what are those?
Those are, it's like a mushroom, a fruiting battery, so it rots on the inside and then it produces this on the outside. When you see that, you see that it's probably rotten inside. The interesting thing is how the natives used to use it. The First Nations used to use it to transport fire. So where we would use a lighter to start a fire, they would take an old fire that they've got established, and they'd put some embers, drill a hole and put some embers inside the conch, and they'd be able to carry it from place to place and be able to start their next fire quite easily. So it's kind of a very interesting use that they used to use for them.
And it started with lots of volunteer work here from guys that were in the CIF and from their families, kids and their wives were out here building the trail to begin with, sort of thing, with shovels and all kinds of different apparatus sort of thing. And then when we got the money from the federal government, we got a crew together of young people to come out here, minimal amount of money to build the trail the way it is, or not the way it is today, but in terms of starting it, stuff like that.
Yeah, here's where the beetle larva, the eggs were laid by the adult, and then the larva fed in galleries. And this is what chokes the tree off. And this is where all the water nutrients come up from the roots, and it chokes it off. So the tree literally can't get any water or nutrients, and it just dies, basically. You can imagine if you can't eat or drink, what happens to you? Anyhow.
And when you look at this site, it's quite open, and later on we're going to see a site that's quite closed. And it's basically the stage the forest is at. So this is an earlier stage. It's light and bright.
Well, I think the demonstration forest became well known through the efforts of those in the forest industry who advocated and made it known to the school district and teachers. And each year during the September National Forest Week, the sponsored tours here, including buses were paid for by the industry, etc. We hosted 1,000 kids every year?
At least 1,000.
At least 1,000 kids every year walking through the forest here.
Now the other thing is, so you have a moose with a large rack. Do you think he's going to want to run through this?
No.
Okay, so he's going to be over here, right?
Yeah.
So, and look at the ground over here. There's hardly anything on it. Not even hardly any moose or moss. So the moose don't have anything to eat. Where over here, they have lots to eat. Do you think anything goes in here?
No.
No. What about a grouse?
For instance, we've had some of the, there's a native-oriented school in Prince George, and they bring their elders out with the class. And so the guide will sort of give them the, the technical stuff, and then the elder will be able to add in all the cultural things that go with this particular plant or what, which really makes it different.
We were quite concerned that we had to step up our advocacy regarding public understanding of forestry practices here in BC, and therefore it was a very good vehicle for us to utilize to the extent we were able to form the society, get the woodlot, and put it into operation.
Okay, we're talking about this tree and it's hollow, and look at these tiny little mushrooms that are growing in it.
And I said it was like,
It's like, yeah.
take
And
a
see,
picture
look,
of the
there's
floating
also-
mushroom.
There's this mushroom going on it too. This is called conch. It means the tree was rotting before it fell over, and you can tell because it's hollow in the middle too, right?
Slow-mo. It looks like someone cut it. It's like
Yeah,
right
step on
in the
it.
middle. Center red.
And I just think education and getting kids out in the bush is really important. A lot of them don't get out, and the ones that do, well, there's always great opportunities to just get them active and help them enjoy the bush.
I don't think it was Ian because Ian would be like a little more. I want to flip
That's
it over.
like a perfect
it's a
circle.
Smurf's home. Jellyish. I want to flip it over.
No, they're not going to
Yeah, if you flip it.
Let's get the kids out. Even if it's not a real technical session for them, let's just get them out walking around, enjoying the outdoors. I think that's how I got into the program, because I like being out here, so I didn't really need to know the ecosystem so much, but just to get out and enjoy it.
One little boy said, I'd really like to come back here with my family, which was kind of nice. I don't think it was necessarily aha, but definitely more, wow, this is beautiful.
The idea to begin with, I guess, was to have an interpretive trail that would be self-explanatory, so people could come and walk through the actual trail itself, see some of the see the progression of what happened in the forest, where it was going, how it regenerated naturally. So not only just high school students or primary school students that come through and read it, but general public driving down the road could come in and walk through the trail using the interpretive, the brochure that we had provided to them.
You're going to want open sunny areas.
Like that one?
Like the aspen that we saw. Yeah. And then once those start establishing, then you're going to get your other trees that can grow in the shade.
Hopefully the future generations of foresters beyond me will be carrying out the management with the same sort of philosophy of what can we do different that would set us apart or provide some kind of a different element to the forest management.
What was your favorite part of the day?
What was your favorite part of the day?
Collaging.
Okay, what was yours, Mattea?
Looking at the plants.
Looking at the plants. What was yours, Lily?
Hanging out with my friends.
Hanging out with your friends. What was yours, Jaden?
I didn't have a favorite part, so I wanted to put my hand up.
Oh, well, that was really interesting. Come over here. What about yours, Corbin? What was your favorite part of the day?
Learning.
Yeah, what did we learn about?
Trees.
Trees. We learned about a whole bunch of different trees.
No, I think when we started this, we were focused on building the trail, sort of thing. We didn't see this as being larger than it was, sort of thing. So our big focus was getting the trail done and getting young people to start walking in the woods. That was growing, and we could show the natural regeneration, and there was some planting that went on in here, so we could show what happened. There was some logging that went on in here. There was 3 or 4 different species that grew in here, sort of thing. So they could see the whole progression of the forest developing when they walked through it, sort of thing, which was which was something that we wanted to show, I guess, was that progression, that the forest was renewable, and that it was something that didn't just disappear. You know, just because you clear cut it doesn't say is not going to come back, right? So it was something that was, I guess, was a passion for me at the time, sort of thing as it was, and the same as it was for everybody else that was involved in it. Very passionate about developing this and showing what the forest really was.
Where did you get this? It's creepy.
I don't know what, there's something about it that you know, it'd be great if I could be involved with this woodlot for a few years yet, just to see things through a little bit. I won't be doing this forever, but it's kind of nice to have a bit of a longer term connection with a chunk of forest.
BC woodlotters strive to keep our crown forests thriving and healthy. It's part of the social contract they sign when they agree to manage one of the 860 plus parcels of timber that make up the woodlot community. They understand their obligation to the public, that they not only find a way to reap economic rewards from their harvesting, but provide places for future generations to experience a simple walk in the woods.